An opportunity to get a sense of what some of today's high school-age students think about some of the big issues facing today's world, and the one they will inherit in the not-too-distant future, drew a large crowd of more than 70, mostly older, residents to the Manchester Community Library on Monday, December 4th. 7 high school students from Burnburton Academy held forth on questions like climate change, immigration, healthcare, drug abuse, and the role of the United States in world affairs. The event was a continuation of the ongoing Can We Talk series that's been held at the library since last summer. The discussions are aimed to foster respectful and civic dialogue across ideological lines during a period in the nation's history widely considered to be one of the most divided and polarized in recent times. Following an introduction from Burnburton's Social Studies Department Chairman, John Graff, who moderated the event, the students introduced themselves to their audience and launched into a discussion on the first issue, climate change.
Well, to climate change. So like countries and lots of them are developed countries like US, lots of European countries, and some developing countries like China and India. So that really interests me. So so for those developed countries, those ones that actually emit the most greenhouse gases, they don't actually gonna be damaged. They're not gonna be harmed by those bad things that the climate change have done to the Earth. It's those like developing countries, those like small islands that are gonna face problem when the seas start rising and the heat waves and all that kind of bad things that climate change does to us. So I think
I am skeptical of certain aspects to arguments about climate change, like when someone brings up that 97% of 90% of scientists have the consensus that it does exist, is a man-made issue, and is detrimental. I just have a few, I'm a little bit hesitant to just go along with that and use that as a valid argument to state something that is based in fact, because usually, anyway, in the scientific community, it's not based off consensus, it's based off who's right. So I'm not saying that they're necessarily wrong, but I'm saying that there are still massive amounts, like over 30,000 scientists across the world who either say that it might not be man-made or it might not be as detrimental as they say. So I do have certain reservations.
Then came discussions on the other issues, such as immigration, drug abuse, healthcare, and the role of the U.S. in world affairs.
11 million individuals is simply not feasible, I think, and that's something that we just need to understand. And also, instead of focusing on deportation, since it is, and a lot of times, just not feasible and also not cost effective for us, we really do need to start working as a nation in how to better the pathway towards citizenship. And I think that's something that really needs to be reworked and talked about, I guess, by our global community or by our national community.
It kind of came to mind. She said, we're really just kind of like blips in the time that this place has been here. And on an issue like this, I really feel like it's a problem that's very much been decided by the people who came before us, because as much as we may like it or not like it now, the decisions that the United States has made has kind of put us in this extremely crucial role within the world. And I feel like in some ways we have a responsibility to carry on doing that because of how much we affect the world around us.
We have so many systems in general required for healthcare, and it's not unified in one system that would increase efficiency. And that's why I think single payer, or at least a public option, is an excellent push. And especially after the events of this summer, in which the GOP tried to, in my view, just swindle healthcare from lots of people. Scores of the bill that was nearly passed showed that literally thousands would die. I think that the real answer to that is single payer healthcare. And while that's certainly not the end of the conversation on healthcare, I think that's really the next step for the US.
Very, very important issue, because it doesn't just affect the climate and global warming, but the global warming then begins to affect more territorial issues. And so many conflicts in the world right now are actually caused because of climate change and the fact that resources are running out in many countries, as we are currently learning about in my conflict resolution class with Rabbi Cohen. And So we need to acknowledge that climate change exists, and agreements like the Paris Climate Agreement are extremely important because they ensure that we can hopefully preserve the world for a longer amount of time.
After that, the students answered a few questions from the audience.
Lives. What do you see for your generation as problematic and as opportunity?
So what do you see as, for your generation, to be challenges, problematic, and what do you see as opportunities that exist?
That's a really good question. I think problematic, I would say automation, which we haven't actually talked about a lot in this group, but just the replacing of a lot of jobs with automation and trying to create new markets for people, and dealing with that is something that our generation is going to have a huge problem with. But I also think that real opportunity is that, as much as we hear about it, the human race has never been as rich and wealthy as it is today. Like extreme poverty is at the lowest level so far. I think that's a huge opportunity that this is the richest point in all of human history, and people forget that a lot when they talk about these issues. But that just brings so many more people in the fold of society, and that's fantastic.
That's a really good question. Sometimes when I'm looking at people, and I know I fall into this too, but if I'm just sort of people watching and looking around, I'll just notice that everybody is on a device, and it really bothers me. And I know, like, I'm at fault too a lot of the times, but it really worries me because if we become so dependent on these devices that we call smartphones, and then they sort of start to influence us in ways that are maybe we don't even realize, but they kind of control us in a lot of ways.
Joey Conti, one of the students on the panel, told us about what the experience was like.
So I guess my reaction to the panel as a whole was it was a little different than I expected. I thought it'd kind of be more like a roundtable discussion of us all really talking about our different ideas and trying to just almost like compare notes about it. But it was just kind of us stating our position, which I also did appreciate. It kind of kept it away from being too much of a debate, but it was definitely interesting hearing, even though I go to school with these other guys every day, it was actually nice to hear what they really had to think on a lot of these topics.
For the GNET TV News Project, I'm Andrew McKeever.